world. We are aboard the Jeanneau Sun Odyssey 380, the first one, brand new, it's the prototype. We're just waiting for the wind to fill in off Barcelona. Good time to have a quick look around the interior. So if you may have seen our video of the Sun Odyssey 410 with the lift keel, this is another really nice new design from Jeanneau and Mark Lombard, and shares a lot of similarities. Obviously the space has been compressed more, so you come down the companionway and you're straight into this L-shaped galley, and you lose the dedicated nav station that the 410 has, but you still get a chart table on the aft end of that sofa berth. But it's still offered as a 2 cabin plus 1 head, or 3 cabin plus 2 heads. So still plenty of accommodation options. And yeah, this one has the lift keel, which means you have this fixed space below here for the keel mechanism, which I'll try and show you now. So in the table here, you can see the viewing port through to the top of the keel ram, so you can see it coming up and down, and you also have access from below here and in here to the hydraulic pump itself, with the manual lever mechanism for it there if you did have to do it by hand, but otherwise you just turn the engine on, and electric hydraulic button to raise that from the helm. Another few key areas that Jeanneau wanted to incorporate on this boat were having a rectangular forward berth and a proper sofa berth here on the starboard side. Mine, this is only 38 foot. That's a lot to get into this length and volume. So that's a 1.8 metre long berth, but a really comfortable seat and chaise long option. This removes, and you can put that over on the seat on the port side there. And yeah, some clever solutions here to gain this room in the forward cabin. So if you notice, this bulkhead here is different to this one. So this, you can see the difference there. So you put the surface area on the forward end, the starboard side, and on the aft end, that side, and that creates a sort of offset area in here, which then you have an offset berth, so that bulkhead is further forward to the starboard side than it is to the port side. So it slants the whole berth, creates this rectangular berth, which we saw in the 410, but it also gives that option to have a second head here, so you can see the moulding where that second head would fit in if you chose that option. As it is, without it, you get a lot more stowage area, obviously, and more space in this cabin itself. Plenty of light, lots of hull windows in here, and good headroom in here as well. At least 6'4", I would guess. Coming back to this lift keel option, which I think is a really smart one, because unlike the 410 with beaching legs, you can have beaching legs available on this, so you can properly put it on the beach and let it dry out. Also, it reduces draft from 2.7 meters to 1.3, so that'll give you plenty of pointing ability upwind, and the ability to nose into the shallows or even dry out. Again, plenty of smart solutions here. We look again like the fiddled areas around here, and good stowage solutions. So there's a pin here to unlock this drawer. Hang on, can I do this one-handed? And then that will pull right out to give you extra galley stowage with pegs to customise it there, which will be really handy. The galley itself has reduced in size. But this is the prototype, splitting that in half, give access to the twin sinks, and again this door as well, so you can get separate access to the bin area below. A big deep cold stowage in there, and then the raised lockers, which are going to itemise in there as well. But weight saved throughout, so another key target for Jeanneau is to keep the weight down, and Mark Lombard as well, so infused deck and weight savings wherever they can, so that this to keep the weight overall displacement to under 7,000 kilos, which they've managed to do, which is pretty impressive actually. And you still get on this 2-cabin option a huge aft cabin. And that's a massive berth. I imagine you can sleep both ways on that, because it goes right in under that cockpit area. Because you can have all of that space when you're not dividing it into 2 aft cabins. Again, plenty of headroom in here and good size stowage. And there's access from both the shower cubicle on this and this aft cabin side access to the engine with the main access under the companionway steps. Another thing I think is pretty clever is to, if you don't need that third cabin, i.e. the second aft cabin, is to separate the heads and shower area. So good size heads compartment, and then look at the size of the shower area. So this is a full walk-in room, which you can also have all of your wet hanging as well. So either you have it as a locker as such, or you can take this rail out, put it here, and there is your largest wet hanging area you're ever going to have. Practical. And then all of this aft is all stowage. I mean, it's filled to the rafters at the moment, but you can access that from the cockpit locker lid, bench seat as well. So a huge amount of stowage if you're not going for the 3-cabin option. And 3 companionway steps, lift, albeit not very high, to keep access to the engine block with the 2 side panels, removing there to get further access as well. Bilge access is pretty shallow, as could be expected for a modern hull shape, but you still get a bit of wine space, wine bottle stowage in there. So on deck you really see pretty much all of the benefits of the 410. You really don't see much size loss at all. A really generous size cockpit area, standard no table, or with this one, or with a larger teak one with cold stowage in it as well. So this one has that access from the cockpit here into that huge aft stowage area, and then bench locker under this one. And then the a real key to the design of these new Sun Odysseys is maintaining this walk around deck, and they've managed to do it on the 380 as well, which is quite a feat really, to be able to not have to climb over the coamings and easily walk around here. It also means you can sit at the helm with your feet out in comfort. They're also putting push pit seats, cushion backrests here as well to make that even more comfortable. And you probably noticed that it looks extra spacious because there's no backstays used on this. So this has a fractional rig. With this particular one has the square top performance mainsail option. The rig itself is no taller, but you've got plenty more sail area where you want it up high. And that would also come with the flat deck furler, which we'll have a look at on the bow, which basically just brings the foot of the sail right down so you maximise the area of the Jeanneau. Moving forward up this ramped side deck, it feels nice and secure. You've got a bit of a tow rail there, you've got a handrail here. Again, the Jeanneau have used these lightweight textile 3D jib sheeting system, which I think is a really nice option to have. Again, they're keeping weight out of this boat wherever possible. This is the prototype, so they've put the self-tacking jib track on there, so for those that do want it. But I think the Jeanneau itself would be pretty manageable at this size. Another really nice feature on this one is a textile inner forestay. So this here, you see, leads right up to just below where the Jeanneau is joining the mast there, and that's for the inner forestay, which will attach to this neat little textile pad eye on the foredeck, and then you just use a purchase system at the mast to tighten it. Let's see if we can see that inside the actual locker. There. So I've made that cutaway there, so you can still attach it without lifting the locker lid. And there's your chain locker, right there, and the beefy area for that inner forestay attachment. And there's the flat deck furler with the code 0 furler mounted just further forward of that on the bowsprit with the integral bow roller. You might be able to see from this angle the reverse bow. It means longer at the water line than it is at the top of the stem. Below the aft deck here you have a simple manual pulley for the swim platform to drop down, and then access here to the gas locker and the steering gear, which runs under there with a tie bar to the other side of the twin rudder, and the life raft stowage below the starboard side there. And there's a couple of quadrants each side of your twin rudder stocks. Very nicely done. So the Sun Odyssey 380 starts at 153,700 ex-VAT, and this boat we're on with all of the options, nice sails, and the lift keel comes in at 280 inc-VAT. We will try and link to the 410 video. Hope you liked it, and see you next time. Cheers.